Welcome back. It is the DMV Weave Doctor, located right here in Bowie, Maryland, lady, doors, and gents. Okay, ladies, doors, and gents. Okay. Oh, shout out to the Weave Doctor. Feeling a little tired. Got up early this morning. Did a lot of different little errands. Okay. But today, the Weave Doctor's going to be talking about these are some basic causes of hair loss. And I'm starting actually to find out a lot of people are dealing with a lot of anemia and vitamin D deficiency. And if you have alopecia areata, psoriasis, any type of scalp disorders that are related to inflammation, and you can find this out by going to your um, trichologist or your dermatologist. Okay. And we have a lot of different dermatologists that we know about in the area. So if you're dealing with any type of inflammatory type of scalp condition or inflammation throughout the body, you really need to look into trying to supplement with vitamin D. And it's a lot of people that believe, and practitioners believe in using K2 infused vitamin D3 because it helps with the calcium levels. Sometimes when you do too much vitamin D, it can cause your calcium levels to get off the chain. Okay. So these are things that all need to be put into perspective. That's why it's good to try to supplement and go with a holistic practitioner or a nutritionist when you're trying to rearrange your diet. Okay. So we're just telling you some different type of deficiencies that are popular and that are known for causing hair loss. So we already discussed the vitamin D deficiency. The next thing would be anemia. And so this is typically, there are different forms of anemia. B12 anemia, they have a lot of different types of forms of anemia. So you need to get your blood panels done on at least 1 to 2 times a year so that you can see where everything is lining up for your body. Because if you are anemic, you are going to be dealing with issues with hair fall and with hair thinning. Okay. There are a lot of also different type of supplements out there, even vegan supplements. They have chlorella out there. What's another one? Spirulina. Those are really good for supplementing, especially if you're going to be doing vegan options. However, make sure to go to your primary care to get your blood work done because you don't want to be, maybe on the wrong diet. And there's a lot of people that are having those issues. So if you are a severely or anemic, you need to, I would say, even look into a dietitian or a nutritionist. They can put you on the right plan. What's become very popular, a lot of people have started doing the plant-based diets. And baby, those diets are not for everyone. Okay, even the weed doctor herself. I called myself, getting on a diet that pretty much restricted a lot of protein. Number one, I was losing a lot of muscle mass. And, some people say, well, I ain't trying to be a bodybuilder. However, I was losing a lot of muscle mass. I felt like my skin was getting a little bit more drier. So these are just things to look into. And there is a correlation a lot of times when people decide to go vegan. Many people then slowly after start to see more hair fall. Okay. So this just make sure you look into these things. Do not try every new trend that's out that might not be the trend for you. All right. Okay. So the next thing is thyroid problems or thyroid disease. These different hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. I know some people call it Graves' disease. I know Wendy Williams had it. Some of the diseases, it can cause the eyeballs to really bulge. So kind of you can end up having a lot of different symptoms with this thing. Another one could be excessive weight gain. So if you are just had an excessive weight gain going on, your metabolism is getting slower and slower. You're feeling sluggish and fatigued all the time. You definitely probably want to go to an endocrinologist or to a holistic practitioner so that they can whip you back into shape. Okay. And so all of those different things they that can cause hair loss. So that's why, and some of those conditions require more iodine, and some require little to none. Okay. So again, make sure to go to a holistic practitioner or a functional medicine doctor. They have a lot of fabulous tests out there And if you want to come to the weed doctor, we can do the hair tissue mineral analysis test. We can look to see if your adrenals and thyroid are overactive. And if they are, you could be someone that's susceptible to these conditions. Also, if your eyebrows are fine and thin on the outer edges, that is definitely a key that there's some thyroid stress or imbalance. With the thyroid too, another way some people track it is by using a basal monitor, and those are pretty effective. When checking the body temperature, even though it's a very old school method. However, it really does can assist you in finding out if you're dealing with any type of thyroid issues. All right, let's see what else is on the docket. The next thing is diabetes and circulation. And some people say, well, dang it, I'm just going to quit right now. I'm not even going to try because I ain't trying to take no supplements. I ain't trying to change my diet. I just want to pop a pill for everything, okay? So the weed doctor will say with that, you are what you eat and what you put in, that's what you're going to get out. We have a lot of clients though that have not changed their diet and still have seen tremendous results. However, if you want the most ultimate results, you're going to have to deep the little bit digger, and if you want to get the fastest results, you're going to have to change your diet. So as you know, with diabetes, it can affect the nerves and the circulation in your body, and your head, your scalp actually needs circulation as well and blood flow to the actual hair follicles. So when you dealing with diabetes and it's unmanaged or out of control, you're going to run into some problems with your hair trying to regrow. Okay, so that's why it is important to, I said, get those labs regularly. Sometimes some people say, well, I'm feeling good, I'm managing it. I actually had a cousin, she did not manage her condition and then she became blind. Okay. We doctors get tired, but can you imagine going blind just because you did not keep up on your insulin, or your different type of blood sugar spikes? So it's very, very, very serious. So if you're dealing with diabetes and circulation issues, I would definitely encourage you. And I'm speaking to myself. I don't have diabetes, but I sometimes can enter to that pre-diabetic range. Being insulin resistant. And so, as you start to eat too much highly processed food, too much sugars, the weed doctor herself, I'm actually going back to more of a lower carbohydrate diet. Now, I can't do no carb, okay? The weed doctor like to get her grub on, and she likes to eat a lot of different types of breads and rice, and so we're not going to be eliminating everything, okay? But with the circulation, if you're dealing with these problems, make sure to check out that diet. And some of the things, easy little tips you can do is make sure that you avoid drinking a lot of sodas. You avoid also, look at some of the different alternatives. They have these different things out now, like the what is it, the paleo diet. Now, again, you may want to be like the weed doctor. You might not want to give up every single last morsel of grains and be miserable. And there's some people that have celiac disease and different diseases like that. They don't have a choice. Okay, honey, they have to remove all those grains from their diet. If not, they're not going to get relief. Okay. All right. So moving along. The next thing would be PCOS, any type of hormonal issues. Okay. Those also affect the hair loss. They said that is the third version of diabetes. Okay. The third type of diabetes. This is so perplexing to the weed doctor how I'm just finding out, even with my own health, I have been dealing with more inflammation. I was listening to a crazy doctor tell me that my sodium was low, so it was okay for me to start eating out again. And why did I do that? I started to have all type of inflammation, pseudo gout, all these different types of things. And so, so that's why you got to be very, very careful when you change your diet. Now, we were talking about something, diabetes and circulation. The weed doctor might have lost her train of thought and switched over, swooping and swapping and flopping everywhere around. So, you just want to make sure that you look into some of these different things. And be very cautious when you are changing your diet, especially if you are having good results. That is a good way. You practicing the right thing, you seeing the right thing come out in your life. That's how you know that you can't just switch your diet up at any moment. All right. Another thing is poor nutrition. So a lot of people, honey, they are eating out every single day of the week. And they're getting some of these things that we're talking about with the sodium. They're dealing with a lot of swelling, dealing with a lot of inflammation and pain. We were not created to eat all these different type of toxins on a regular basis. If you do this, your hair probably is going to start to have some type of effect. Some people, there's a lot of holistic practitioners believe that when you eat all this junk food, it robs your body. Your body has to compensate for it, so it makes your system all imbalanced, and then it can make you just more susceptible, to hair loss and hair thinning. Okay, and just being deficient in different supplements and be hungry all the time. Okay, so these are just some different little tips. Trying to think is anything else. So just keep that in mind that any type of um, scalp condition that you're dealing with, that's again scalp condition, and a lot of times any health condition could be greatly affecting, your actual hair from growing back. All right, you guys. So the weed doctor's gonna keep it short today. Make sure to inbox the weed doctor if you have any issues or problems. And that's why, I try to make sure to incorporate hair tissue mineral analysis for all of my clients. Not everyone is going to be willing to change their diet. However, if you do have the courage to do it, baby, you are going to see fantastic results. Even within my own testimony, I have to show you guys. I was going on a holistic diet, and it was all pretty much vegan, just about. And my hair started to thin so much. Also, I just recently, that's why, if you're dealing with inflammation, now that was a good thing. We found out that I had inflammation. Also found out that I had a severely low vitamin D. So that is why if you start to get any type of symptoms, search it out. Okay. And sometimes we get tired of going to the doctor, taking off from work, feel like it's cutting into our schedule. I was able to find out that I did have some inflammation going on, and that also, child, that I was dealing with a severely low vitamin D. So, and I'm also seeing there's a lot of people on YouTube talking about how their hair has thinned out majorly from their vitamin D deficiency. Okay. So we just got to be aware of these things. And the weed doctor offers a lot of tests, or you can just go to your actual primary care, and your primary care can then refer you to other specialists out there that can help you on your hair growth journey. Now, I think we were looking at some of the myths we were talking about. I did have to address that. Some myths for hair loss. Some people be coming up with a lot of extracurricular stuff. I don't know what they're talking about. Some people talk about there's a myth that if you leave your weave in, now if you let your hair mat up and rat up and crack up, okay, you're not gonna be able to detangle that mess, and you might lose some fibers. But we're talking about not just breakage, where it's like in between the hair strand. We're talking about actually alopecia right directly at the root. Okay, where the baldness and thinning is starting right at the root. Okay, so that's a false narrative. Another thing, shampooing. There's another thing out there that people say that when I shampoo, I'm seeing all this hair come out. Number one, the longer you wait in between shampoos, the more hair you're gonna see because your hair sheds about 90 to 100 strands or more a day. Okay, so if you wash your hair more frequently, you probably some people feel like they see less strands. Okay, but if you wait a very long time, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, or 5 or 6 weeks, or if you're wearing wigs and weaves and you taking down your hair after a 2 to 3 month period, baby, it's gonna look like you balding for real. Okay, all right. So that's the thing. Another thing I've been hearing. Some people say, I just got this one hairstyle and it took out all my hair. A lot of times, I don't know if I always believe that. Generally, hair loss is a very gradual thing. And some people just don't realize that it's happening, or they don't go to a hairstylist that is being truthful to them and letting them know the current state of their alopecia. All right. So we already talked about the shedding, with your shampoo. That's probably why. Now, some people actually believe the longer you keep some of these sew-ins and installs in it, the longer your hair grows. Okay. So these are just some myths. Then the weed doctor was reading that masturbation. People are so crazy, saying that lack of zinc. I don't know. So I don't know if that's substantial. If there's any type of medical type of data to back that up or not. Okay. All right. So we hope that you guys look forward to trying out our hair tissue mineral analysis and coming in for a computerized hair analysis so that you can begin your health hair journey. You can reduce hair fall. You can increase the density. Now, again, these results are not going to be instant and overnight. You did not get alopecia instantly and overnight in most cases. Okay, so it's going to take a long time to do this process. All right, you guys. Well, we thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you have a fabulous evening. And we hope all you guys enjoyed your Mother's Day last week. All right, see you next time.